We'll pop it in and get that agitation happening. That ice is going to melt. It's cold, refreshing, juicy, very low acidity. It's summer here in Australia and it's damn hot. And if you're chasing a different type of drink to refresh yourself with espresso that's not as heavy as an espresso, maybe look at a Pourover V60 cold version. So I'm going to make that for you right now, tell you everything you need to know. Let's get brewing. So if you're new to V60s, there's a couple of things that you may need. You'll need a top V60. Why is it a V60? Because of the shape, the degrees essentially. This is a 2 cup, you can get a 1 cup, and you can get bigger as well. But make sure that you get the right size filter that goes with it. And you can see this is a cone filter, this is a version 2, and it is exactly the right size. It doesn't matter if you put a 2 into a 1 or a 1 into 2, as long as you've got the room to pour the water for your recipe. You'll need something to catch that liquid in. This is the 600ml Hario glass beaker, so that's a good one to match with the 2. And you need a scale. You're going to need some coffee and your kettle. And you're going to need a temperature controlled kettle, because when you're brewing V60s, it's all about the recipe. So you've got the right amount of coffee, the right amount of grind particle size you're going to pass that water through, and the temperature that that water is going to be, and then how much you're going to end up with at the end. So the recipe we're going to be using today is outlined on our card here, which is our single origin of the month. So we're using a Sakoko. It's an East Timor coffee. It's a natural processed coffee, and it comes from the Railco washing station. It's got some rose water, some marshmallow, and even some cacao flavors in there. So it's super funky, beautiful flavor, but not overpowering when you're wanting that refreshing cup at the end of the day. So if you grab one of these bags, jump on the Artisti store, that'll be there for you, and you'll get the brew card, and on the back it tells you how to do the pour over hot, batch brew, espresso, and obviously we've got the cold brew we're doing today in terms of a V60, but it's also available for the Brewer cold brew device. So super versatile coffee, roasted for filter. Go check that out. So let's get back to it. The key things of a pour over is we do need to rinse or prepare essentially our station. So if we open up our pour over paper, there's a whole lot of different tricks that you could do here if you want to. You can keep it round and pop it straight in, or you can start to fold that if you wanted to. And by folding it, we're just going opposite a few different times to create a different shape. Pretty simple, you can do that. And you're thinking, well, why would I fold it? It's already a round shape. Well, what we're actually trying to do is make sure that we keep it off the sides. And if you have a look at a pour over, there we go. So now I've made this beautiful little pattern there. We want to keep it off the sides of the pour over. So sometimes you'll see ones that have this channeling lines on it so that the water can flow through essentially the paper and then come through into the cup. But by doing that, essentially, it allows a little bit more space to not go down and connect or suck to the actual V60. So look, a lot of debate around papers. Do you wash them or you don't? Well, this is a bleached paper, so I'm definitely going to wash it with some hot water. You can get some natural ones if you like. They're a bit brown and maybe they have too much flavor, but you know, the paper filters over the years have certainly gotten a lot better. So either way, we want to rinse the paper filter. But also right now what we're doing is we're heating up the V60. Now, if you've got a ceramic V60, you definitely want to get some heat into it. With the plastic, it doesn't hold as much heat, so it can be a better option for you. If we were doing a hot pour over, we would want the bottom vessel to be hot, so we don't cool down the brew really quickly. In this case, it doesn't matter because we are actually trying to make a cold V60. So I'm going to get rid of that right now. Doesn't matter if it cools down, and I need to grind my coffee. I've got 15 grams of the Sakoko, and I'm using grind 600 on the Mazda ZM. So let's prepare that right now. If you're using a single dose grinder, make sure you always get the grinder going flat out so that it does get a really good consistent grind particle size, because the motor can handle it. Ideally, having your hopper closed is a key way to do that. Open it up. Make sure all the beans have fallen through. And then just give it a bit of a flick. That smells amazing. But there is our grind ready to go. So I'm going to reassemble this now. The one thing I need is some ice. I actually need 70 grams of ice, and that's going to be the base of our cold drink. So I'm just going to grab this pre-weighed amount of ice that I have here out. We'll pop it in. We're going to re-tear it off, and once we put the coffee, the V60 on top of that, we definitely want to add our coffee into the bottom, nice and central there. We don't want to get it all up the sides. You can give it just a slight tap, not a lot, because you're going to start to get the fines to fall to the bottom. So the more you play with that, the challenging you may find the brew to be. So once you've got it all put together, give it another tear off, and we are ready to do our hot brewing. So it is a pretty quick process to get yourself a beautiful drink that is very unique, a lot more subtle flavors coming through, and definitely not heavy like an espresso or maybe an iced long black or something in the afternoon. So we're going to do 2 pours. They're going to be 70 grams each. But after the first one, we're going to wait 1 minute, and then we're going to finish off the following 70 grams. So because that's going straight onto the ice, we're going to get some more volume out of that as it melts, and we'll end up with a beautifully balanced recipe for this coffee. So I'm going to start my little timer here. There we go. And I'm going to pour in that 70 grams. Making sure we wet the coffee beautifully and evenly all the way around the outside. Whoop, and get our 70 grams. And that will take about a minute to make its way through or draw down through the coffee. So if you're drawing this down and it's not flowing very well, you need to increase the coarseness of your grind. If you're finding it's going really, really fast, you may need to go a little bit finer. But you'll start to learn on your grinder what sort of particle size that you're going to need. Just like any extraction, going finer is going to slow it down, making it coarser is going to speed it up. So we're looking for that 1 minute mark. We're at 48, 49, so about another 10 seconds, and you can see we've pretty much extracted all of that coffee. It's already made its way through the coffee bed. We've got a beautiful bloom. There's a few little bubbles there that are popping, so it's degassed. The next pour, we need to be heavy. We really need to stir that up and get that agitation happening. And we're going to stop at our 140 grams. Making sure we've gone all the way around the outside just to wash that coffee down off the paper filter. I'm going to let that draw down. It's pretty simple, pretty easy, and a great way to get a really flavoursome brew, but cold super quick. Because we all know that it can be a bit challenging to make cold brew and think about 2 days or a day ahead when you're thinking about these cold beverages, and your mates turn up and you never have enough. So at least if you've got yourself a pour over set up, you can make a hot pour over in summer, but make a whole heap of cold coffees for all of your mates when they turn up unexpected. Oh, 2 minutes and 5, yep, cool. So just over the 2 minute mark, and the water has made its way through that coffee bed. So I'm going to quickly remove that, and that ice cup is handy to catch all the drips. There might be 1 or 2 that come out, but essentially we've now got our ice and our beautiful brewed liquid in together. So if we just give that a little bit of a swirl, that ice is going to melt, and it's going to be the perfect brew. Okay, that is smelling fantastic. It's super flavorful, very sweet, quite aromatic. Now it's up to you how you're going to serve this, but for me, I don't want to water it down anymore. So grab yourself a couple of glasses and pour away. If you want it to be extra cold, pop some more ice in there, and then you're going to have that really, really cold product. But for me, this isn't going to be super cold because it was a hot product onto the ice. It's going to be cool, but not that chilled 4 degrees sort of temperature. If you're after that, maybe you could use this, pop it in the fridge, and then it'll be super cold. Hey, for an example, let me see what it looks like with the 2 different options. I'll chuck a bit of extra ice in here. If you really wanted to spice it up a bit, you can put some mint or some lemon or some other sort of cool little flavors if you like. But I'm going to pour out one here just straight up, and another one on the ice. Give a bit of a stir to chill that one down a bit. It's cold, refreshing, juicy, very low acidity, and really fruity, with a little bit of that cacao coming through. Actually, it's quite tasty. This one here. Okay, it's a lot colder, there's no doubt. I could sip on this for quite some time, but as that ice starts to melt, it might be a little bit lighter on the flavour, and then it might not have that same flavour. So I'd be wary of that. Maybe if you're going to chug it down pretty quick, as I tend to do with all of my coffee. Not really a good person to have a cup with because I drink coffee way too quick. Wow. You're thinking, hey, I don't like black coffee. Would you put milk with this? you'd only put a small dash, like a tiny little bit. It's really going to overpower a light roasted coffee, especially brewed this way. So if you're really trying to make that iced coffee sort of style drink with milk, I would look at not using a single origin, maybe go to a blend, a bit bolder in the flavor, and then it's going to handle that dairy when you pop it in. But either way, you could use the same process here for a medium or a darker roast as you would with a single origin. But just remember, if you're going to go darker in roast, bring the temperature down of your water when you're going to be doing your pour overs. So maybe try around 90, 89 degrees on a really dark roast, and then somewhere between there and 96, depending on the roast level of your light roast filter coffee that you would have. So there you go, guys. I hope that helps you find another alternative for that quick fix cold drink on a hot summer's day. If you've got any other questions, leave them down below. Let's get the discussion going. What do you brew? Have you tried this? It'd be interesting to see how many people have poured themselves a cold V60 pour over. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.